What's up guys, it's Drac, and this is the newest Nerf ZombieStrike blaster. Now this one's out in advance of Toy Fair, which means that we can bring you the review as soon as possible. So I'm a little bit late on this one, but that's honestly because I'm not super jazzed about it. The ZombieStrike line has been letting me down recently. They've been very aesthetics focused, not very performance focused, and after such like high flying like successes like the sling fire and the hammer shot right out of the gate, I just feel like they haven't recovered that. And the Dreadbolt was really cool looking. The Wrathbolt looks like it's going to be a mini Dreadbolt. It's probably going to have a lot of the same problems because it uses the same ammunition. Now on the back we've got the same thing that we've always got. The zombies are getting stronger, so we're improvising. We're making these new blasters out of shed parts to put together, and this one fires arrows or flechettes. I do not speak French, so we're gonna go ahead and take this knife. How many of you guys remember this knife? This is a pretty cool one. It's like vaguely batwing shaped. It was made just for me, so I like to get it in there when I can. And inside the box, we have one Wrathbolt. Now this blaster does cost 15 United States dollars, so it's not like particularly expensive. This is a pretty easy entry point for ZombieStrike. Or even these arrows. It's like realistically very Rebel-esque in its function. It's using the arrows and that's its primary gimmick. Not too terribly much going on. I do want to applaud Nerf. Recently they've been giving you barely enough to fill the blaster, if that, and this time they went ahead and they gave us 2 arrows. Thank goodness. These arrows have a bad habit of once they've bent even slightly, they just don't perform at all, and like you get 2 shots. So if you lose one and you only had one, your product is effectively dead. Now this is a stringer, which means that this elastic is going to be the primary powering function. Try saying that 3 times fast. To assemble this blaster, we're not even going to look at the instructions. We're just going to assume click and we're good. So that snapped into place pretty easily. This is going to come all the way back. That clicks into place, and then you pull this to fire. Of course, there's a locking mechanism up here, so this has to be depressed, telling the blaster that there's an arrow inside for it to fire. Oh, there's more locking mechanisms than that. Okay, so putting the arrow inside, you can see you really want to try and get the arrows knock back here on that elastic string, and then the arrow itself kind of has a pad that it rests in up here. So EOC, can I shoot the light boxes? I mean, what do you think will happen? What's the worst that could possibly happen? That wasn't so bad. I thought it might pop the cover off of the light box and distort the light, but these don't fire with a ton of force. Let me see what ranges it is claiming. Now we are trying this review indoors, which means that I can't get a proper range test done for you. Are they even claiming ranges? They are not, so I guess we'll have to do a separate range test and put that up on the toy lab. The real question is, can you prime with the arrow? Or do you actually have to prime in those steps? Does this not even go down? This won't even depress unless this has been primed. So you really have to get in there Walking Dead style and prime first, which incidentally I'm sure is in here. They do advise for storing your crossbow that you decock it, and that makes a ton of sense because this elastic potential energy will not hold up to the ravages of time. So indeed, prime back. There's an indicator, LOL, which is really just this slot here to tell you that it has been primed. And then once your arrow is inserted and knocked, you're locked, knocked, and ready to go. So I will fire and just see how much drop we get inside the workshops. This is a 25-foot shot. I do love that the arrows whistle. I don't know. I'm gonna upgrade this one. It's not a particularly comfortable blaster. They've definitely married to this this cloth wrap, although this one isn't that abrasive. There's not a lot of deco going on. For some reason they decided they needed a saw blade held in with a wing nut here for legitimately no reason other than aesthetics. But the blaster itself, is pretty cool. Like, it fires the arrows and that's its gimmick, so it's not like it's tricking you at all, and it's doing a good job of firing the arrows. So if arrow shooting is something that you want and you're not in love with the Rebel aesthetic, this is the cheapest way to do that. Performance wise, I still think that the Dreadbolt is awesome looking, but the Dreadbolt is so expensive. The fact that this is 15 bucks means that it's actually a reasonable purchase for an on-brand genuine Nerf blaster. I guess if you really wanted, I'll do that. I'll make a loadout video where it's nothing but the goofy arrows. Why not? There'll just be a ton of mean comments, but I don't even care. That's my review of the Wrathbolt. The Wrathbolt shoots reasonable distances that I can't tell you because I haven't done the range test yet. Its ergonomics are okay, but it's not super expensive. So for $15, you can shoot arrows. It does look cool, especially if you're really into the new ZombieStrike aesthetic, and that covers it. It's a very simple blaster at a very simple price point. It has one function. Alrighty, so we brought out the Chronograph. If we're gonna film reviews inside, I think that we have to use the Chronograph, even though chronographs aren't the best indicator of realistically anything, and we're using weird ammo. Whatever, let's chronograph. Alright, so I figured out the saw blade too. It's a foregrip. The world's worst, least comfortable, thinnest, most abrasive, actually based on a thing that cuts you foregrip. It's time to stop. Hey, that's not bad. 64 FPS for that shot. Let's try and get a more reasonable indicator here. Again, we do have a light box set up and we're filming inside for our chronograph, so YMMV. This one's gonna shoot off at a weird angle. Consistent, if nothing else. There you go, that's the data. Do whatever you want with that. Thank you very much for watching. As always, much love, Nerf on, Drac out.